What's going on, guys? It's Preston here today, back with a brand new video, and in today's video we're doing something a little bit different. It's gonna be kind of a little bit more of an instructional or informational video. I asked you guys on Twitter if you'd be interested in watching me kind of guide you guys step by step through the process of building a computer. I just so happen to have all the parts right here to build a brand new computer for my younger brother Caleb. His unfortunately broke, and as an early birthday present, like a really early birthday present, his birthday isn't until August, I wanted to build him a new computer. I've got the building squad with me right here. Caleb, who is going to be getting the new computer. Nice beanie, dude. I like your beanie. Is that a PrestonStyles.com beanie? Fire Squad hype?
So
You better watch yourself. And then we've got Joshua, the youngest of the pack. He's actually literally the youngest person in the family.
and the best of the pack.
Ah, and he's also got the most swag for sure. He has acquired all of the bad habits and good habits from his 5 older siblings. So he's like the mastermind right now at only age, how old are you, 9 or 10 now? 10. Yeah, I figured you hit those double digits. So, anyways, without further ado, let's get into building this computer. All right, will you guys do us the favor of opening the box, showing the viewers what's inside of here? There is a lot of different computer parts. So, right here, I guess we can start from the top. So one of the most important and crucial components in a computer, of course, is the processor. This is the brain of your computer, and this is a really good one. It's gonna be awesome for gaming. It's even good for video editing. The i7s are better, but i5 is still a really good processor. So we're gonna put that over here. The next thing you wanna get into is gonna be the graphics card. Now this processes obviously all the video graphics, and it even helps with rendering on your computer, and so the better the graphics card, typically the better frames you're gonna get while gaming. Of course, you'll still need a good processor to get good frames when you're gaming. The next part we're gonna get into is RAM. And if you guys don't know what RAM stands for, it stands for Random Access Memory. So this is what your programs are running off. Like if you had Photoshop open, Minecraft open, Call of Duty open, it takes an amount of RAM, and obviously it's random access memory. So any program on your computer that needs memory to run off of, it's gonna go to the RAM. And then of course the processor, and typically not the graphics card, depending on the program, of course. But anyways, RAM is very important because the more RAM you have, the more programs you can have open, and also the more Chrome tabs you guys can have open. I'm sure you guys have seen my vlogs. I have like literally thousands of Chrome tabs open. This right here is the power supply. This is gonna keep everything running. You wanna make sure when you're buying a power supply that it can supply enough power to all the parts that you bought. So if you have like a monster graphics card or 2 of them, you're gonna need a monster power supply. But for what Caleb needs, 600 watts is more than enough. I love the Corsair modular series. What modular means is that you can actually take out some cords to make the wiring management easier. I'll show you guys a little bit more about the modularness of this power supply once we unbox it. This is the hard drive. I didn't go too crazy for his computer. I got him a 1 terabyte hard drive. It's okay. Like, I know SSDs are the way to go right now, but a 1 terabyte hard drive is gonna be more than enough for Caleb's needs.
Really? I almost ran out of what I had before, and like...
That's because you download stupid stuff.
No,
Yeah, you.
He has 100 things on his computer.
Yeah, see? Even our younger brother agrees that you had stupid stuff on your computer.
well, he's the one who broke it, so...
That's true. You did spill water. You did spill water on his computer, and that's why I'm having to do this video right now. When you got him, and you got him so good. Alright, moving on, guys. No more bickering between the two of y'all. This is what's gonna keep the processor cool, because this little bad boy way down here, it's the smallest part in the computer. And like, look at that. It's so tiny, and you'll see it a little bit better once we unbox it, but it gets really hot. You wanna have a good heat sink or cooling system, and what I've got here is a pretty good one. It's got 2 120mm radiators and 2 120mm fans, and what the radiator does is this runs liquid to the processor, all right? So you're gonna see a copper base plate on the other side of this once we unbox it, and then the liquid runs over here into the radiator, which is metal or aluminum, and the fans obviously are sucking air and blowing it through the radiator, cooling off the water, and then it goes back to cool off the processor, and then it's a loop.
Why are you biting on the cardboard?
It's freaking gerbil, dude. What are you doing? Okay, Trent, you better keep that in. Now, this is not a very necessary part to the computer, but it is nice to have just to install drivers and Windows if you need it. This is obviously just the CD or DVD ROM drive. He doesn't need Blu-ray or anything like that, so this will be more than enough. Plus, it's like 20 bucks. Second to the last part, which is actually probably the most important part, I said the processor was, this is the motherboard, okay? So this is where everything plugs into, the RAM, the processor. I mean, without this thing, the hard drives plug into this, obviously nothing would be able to run. That's why it's kind of called the motherboard. Respect your mom, Caleb. I don't know why you're making that face, but it's kind of funny. And the last part that's inside of there, of course, is the case, which is where all the parts go inside of. There's actually a lot of cool builds lately where they don't even use cases anymore. They just have like a flat piece of like metal and everything plugs into it. I don't want to do that because this guy's gonna spill water on his computer again, so. Hey, too savage.
There is no too savage.
It's very true.
I'm tough. He doesn't hit me.
Did you say you're tough?
Yeah.
Is that why you're eating a box? How does that taste? I guess you need your fiber, eh? Having troubles going to the bathroom lately? We have all the parts laid out here now. We can get to the fun part, putting it together. What's going on over there? What's inside that box? Are you sitting on Joshua? He's gonna kill you. You need some help there, brother? Here.
No, let me flip it.
No, I'm helping him. No, let me help him. Joshua, I'm trying to help. No. Are you dabbing? I swear I'm not related to you. So everything is unboxed and almost ready to go. I've actually sent my dad to the store to get us a screwdriver because I don't think we have the right Phillips screwdrivers to do this. If you're ever building a computer, make sure you have at least a few different sizes of Phillips screwdrivers available because they can come in really, really handy. I'm sure a lot of you seasoned professionals out there who have been building computers for a long time, and I've been doing it since I was 11 years old. I'm 21 now. I've never had any part ever go defective due to static. Now you want to be careful, you don't want to build a computer on the floor, although I have done that before and everything was fine. A lot of people are gonna be like, where is your anti-static wristband? It basically wraps around your wrist and then you put the other end of it onto a grounded piece of metal like right here. That way no static can damage any of the computer parts, but we're doing this up on a wooden desk. The chance of static is really low. So first things first, we are gonna install the power supply into the case, and then after that, we're gonna install the CD-ROM drive into the case and probably the hard drive as well. Installing the power supply is so easy. All you have to do is literally slide it into the bottom of the computer or wherever your power supply is supposed to be mounted, and you're literally done. Of course, we're still waiting on our dad to bring by the screwdriver, so we can't screw it into the case just yet, but come over here. You can see that the power supply can't go past this little thing right here. This holds it kind of in place, as well as the screws. That way it doesn't touch the motherboard or any other of the components. What we want to do here is take out this little black bar so we can put the CD-ROM drive into there. Now, some of the older cases aren't going to be tool-free, but this one, the really nice thing about it is that it's a tool-free design. So all you have to do is kind of like reach inside of here, and then you can pop this little black thing out. Check it out, and that thing went flying. While Caleb is down there, we're just going to slide her right into the DMs. Very nice and slowly.
The DMs?
Yeah, the DMs, dude. And boom, there she goes. You can still see the screw holes right here, so we got to screw in the CD-ROM drive. Honestly, you can do it on both sides, but realistically it's a CD-ROM drive. I'm just going to screw it in on this side. You don't even really need to worry about the other side. But once again, we cannot screw anything in because we're still waiting on our screwdriver set. I can't believe I forgot about this, but this is the back plate to your motherboard. So whenever you install your motherboard, these things back here, like your USB connector, your audio connectors and stuff like that, they fit to this back plate that comes with your motherboard. So what you do is you put it in right over here. So when you slide your motherboard in, everything... So anyways, this will actually keep it held in. So all you have to do is go in from the back side and kind of like press on it and get it in there. It's really not hard, but it is kind of hard to film and do this at the same time. I was putting it in backwards, but you can see all the different like names and stuff like that. This obviously should be on the outside. So you go in from over here and just pop it in, apply a decent amount of pressure, boom. So now that it's in, we can install the motherboard. This is the hard drive, and a lot of cases come with this because like the popular thing now is tool-free design, but all you have to do is literally snap these little guys in like this on both sides of it, and it'll slide right in. There we go, much better. We're gonna install this guy in the top drive bay. You literally just slide him in until it clicks, and look at that, now he's stuck in there. No screw driving required or anything like that, although we do have to take off this back panel over here so we can plug in the hard drive and CD-ROM drive and a few of the other things with the power supply. We do actually have an automatic screwdriver, but I would not prefer to use this on the very delicate computer parts, but we can use it for undoing the backside of the case. The backside of the case is now ready to come off. As you can see, this is the backside of everything that we need to get to. Honestly, whenever we install the heatsink, the water cooling thing, onto the processor, a lot of times you need this like cutout for the motherboard because the backside of it, you have to mount what's called a backplate to it. Anyways, it sounds really confusing right now, but you guys will understand it here in just a little bit. But now you can see we have access to the hard drive, so we can plug up the connectors, and then we can run some wires behind here to plug in to the CD-ROM drive, which is right here. Every power supply always comes with screws to mount it into the case. So you can see we got 4 little black tiny screws right here. But I want to get the power supply mounted so we can start hooking up some of the other things. All right, sweet. Now that that's all done, you can see the power supply is going nowhere. We can jiggle it, you can ship the computer. Obviously, you'd probably want to put in the rest of the parts before you ship it, but it's good to go in terms of the power supply being sturdy and mounted. Oh, Dad, coming in big. Screwdriver set acquired. Thank you, Papa Frags.
Straight from the red circle.
Oh, thank you.
A red
I
circle.
never understand half the things he says. I put one screw in over here for the CD-ROM drive, and then one over here. This guy is not going anywhere, just like the power supply. I can push it in from the front or push it in from the back. He is as sturdy as a rock. Now we are installing the most delicate part of the computer, the processor. Now you don't want to remove this black cap just yet. It even says on here, install processor first, then remove it. But you're gonna see a little latch down here, and it's gonna feel a little bit scary, especially if this is your first time building a computer. But you gotta take the latch out, pull the latch out with one hand, and then film with the other, apparently if you're me. And then you open it up here, and then you're gonna see a little bit of an arrow, right? So do you guys see this arrow right here? That arrow is gonna match up with, the arrow right here next to my pinky on the processor. And then one thing you wanna be very careful about is not touching the top of the processor. This is really hard to do because I'm filming with the one hand, but that big silver piece on the very top, don't touch that because we're gonna apply thermal paste to that, which I'll explain later on, but you don't normally wanna touch it because it will affect the cooling performance. Next thing we have to do is install standoffs for these screw holes. So you can see there's a bunch of them throughout the motherboard, and you match them to these little pegs right here. So they're called standoffs, but they're little pegs, and you just screw them in the random spots on your case and match them up with your motherboard. They come with the case actually, but you can see we got a ton of them in here. These little guys are the pegs slash standoffs that we have to install in here before we can install the motherboard. Now comes the very scary time of installing the motherboard into the case. So pick it up very gently, and we installed all the standoffs to the corresponding spots. Actually, Caleb, we missed one. Just kidding, it wasn't Caleb's fault. I'm the master builder over here. Caleb is helping me out and learning a little bit about building computers. So now we can install the motherboard. You want to be very gentle when you do this, but you want to just put it on top of the standoffs that you installed, and boom, boom, boom. And then of course you want to match it up right here to the back plate that we installed earlier so that everything lines up. And I put the back plate in backwards. We swapped around the back plate, so now everything should go in all nice and easy. Try to focus if you can, Caleb, on all these screw holes down here, but there's one over here. Do you see the other one right here? See how there's all these screw holes that are lined up with the pegs that we installed? Now we just gotta insert screws onto them. Very gently, you never wanna screw in things too tight to the motherboard, but we obviously need to secure it to the case so it doesn't just start moving around by itself. Motherboard is screwed in. This guy, once again, is not going anywhere just like the other parts. Now, before we actually install the RAM or the graphics card goes down here as well as the RAM. We're also waiting on a Wi-Fi card that will be going into one of the PCI slots down here. We are going to start working on installing the cooler slash heatsink, which is gonna be really, really cool. So this looks like it was really easy to do, but it was really complex. The heatsink right here actually has pre-applied thermal paste, so you won't even have to apply any to the processor, which makes things super easy. But I think right now what we're gonna do is install the 2 white fans onto the radiator. They're down here between my legs, and then we can start mounting this onto the top of the chassis. We're almost through the hardest part. Caleb is holding the radiator up there, which is of course attached to the heatsink. We have to install this onto the processor right there now. Let's see if we can do this. Boom sauce, we got it attached. Now we have to install the fans up here to the radiator. I was gonna install them before we installed this, but I think it's actually easier because you run one long screw through the fans and the radiator on top of the case and connect it. We ran into an issue, so unfortunately the radiator will not fit with this case. As you can see, this is where the screw hole is supposed to go, and it's not lining up because the case doesn't extend far enough outside the back. That is the screw hole right there, and we need it to line up right here, but as you can see, it's like just a little bit too short. So we're gonna try to find a workaround for this other than ordering a new heat-seeking radiator. Quick update, I found a fix, but now we've run into another problem. So the issue we had was that this thing right here was blocking the fans that we wanted to mount to the radiator, but our boy John came in big with the pliers. On the other side was grabbing these little screws over here. It's hard to see because it's not in focus, but we basically pulled this off the motherboard. Processor being cooled over some of the chipsets in the motherboard definitely are more important. Now we're gonna move on and install the RAM before we install the fans, just so that the fans don't block it. Cause like, look how close this is right here. If we put the fan in, we have barely any room to install the RAM. But RAM is super easy to install, very straightforward, and there's only 2 pieces of it. So you wanna install it in these same colored slots. So if you only have 2 sticks of RAM like I have, which are 8 gigabytes each, put one in the red and the other one in the red, and then one in the black or the other one in the black. But if you have 4 sticks, then you can just fill them all up. But you see that little notch right there? You have to line it up with the notch right down there. And then you just push really hard, and then the things on the ends right here will just snap into place, and then they won't move. We have to make a slight compromise here. The other 120 millimeter fan, which is the same size as this one, won't fit because of this little guy right here, but we are unable to put the other fan in because there's not enough space in between it. And I tried to like jam it in between, but obviously you never want to try to jam it too much. But yeah, you can see like there's only enough space, barely, for my finger to fit through there. We need like 2 fingers of space anyways. So what we're gonna have to do for now is we're gonna have 120 millimeter fan mounted, and then I'm gonna purchase an additional 80 millimeter fan and then just put it into these 2 screw holes since it won't be able to reach to these 2 bottom ones. But other than that, good compromise. Now we get to install the graphics card. It's a 960 GTX. It's definitely good enough for what Caleb needs in terms of his gaming. And overall, just NVIDIA is a great graphics card manufacturer. I'm trying to get this case off it with one hand and, there we go. We have to unscrew these 2 guys first so we can fit the graphics card in, because we want to put it into the first slot. And voila, graphics card is now in. Of course, we gotta replace the screws back over here so this guy doesn't move around like he currently is. And then down here is where we're gonna be installing the Wi-Fi card. All right, we've actually moved offices into my office right now to finish the rest of the computer build. Caleb's chilling out over there. Trent has come back, so he's taken my office. I can't believe you took it from me.
I took your office.
Yeah, we were in here first. We claimed it.
What? I was in here at 9 a.m. this morning.
That's true. He's got dibs. He's got dibs. We have to we have to take out a hard drive and a solid state drive from Caleb's old computer, which is fried, water spilt on it. Some of these parts actually may still be salvageable, and I'll try to do that at another time. I just really don't have a lot of time this week because I'm going out of town soon. So I'm just gonna take the hard drive SSD out, put it in that one right there, and of course take the wireless card out of here, and then we should be golden. Boom, SSD is installed. Just gotta slide this guy in right here now. Yeah, boy. And then there's one more hard drive we need to put in here. I literally just had to perform surgery on Caleb's computer to get out the last hard drive, but we finally have it. This one is way dustier than the other ones. As you can tell, it's like Caleb's had this computer for a while, or that computer for a while anyways. So this guy is super dusty compared to the rest of the ones. I should probably clean her off, but I think she'll be just fine how she is now. Beautiful. This is the wireless card you can see with the antennas. We're just gonna install it right there to the smaller PCIe slot, the little black slot right there. Voila. Now we're gonna replace these little 2 guys right here. It really doesn't make a big difference or even help with the airflow a whole lot. It just kills my OCD, so I gotta screw these 2 guys back in. And we are in. Looks much, much better. Last little bit left is we need to plug up everything and power everything. This actually goes to the motherboard. Hard to see because it's now dark. It's taken so long to build this computer, but it goes to this really big connecting strip right here. Then we need to power up the graphics card, any of the case fans, but I don't think there's any case fans. I think there's one actually like back here being kind of sneaky, but we need to power the 2 hard drives, SSD drive, CD-ROM drive, and then everything is good to go. These little connectors right down here let you know when the hard drive is currently processing information. It also connects the power reset button and the power on button. And then these ones down here, you can see it says COM, TPM, USB, and this one says audio. These are for the front audio ports and the front USB ports, which are over here. Once you plug all that up, the front audio ports will work, the reset button right here will work, power button will work, and then of course the 2 USBs. Okay guys, everything is now connected, but we've hooked up everything. The graphics card, we've got the Wi-Fi adapter inside of here, we've powered the heatsink over here, we've powered the fan. We're gonna go plug this in and see if she turns on. Oh, there's a light! She's alive, you can see light emitting from her. Let's see, is everything turning on in there? Looks like the fan up here is working.
Motherboard's working.
Fan inside of here is turning on as well. And the power supply fan is on. Yeah, you can feel a lot of airflow going on over here. So now we just gotta see if something pops up on the black screen. Oh, Windows is starting. High five, little brother. Oh, I'm not, oh, blue screen. We got launch startup repair after the blue screen. No. So one reason why I think this issue is happening is because since Caleb has a new motherboard, he has a new graphics card, a lot of the old drivers, yep, it just blue screened again, are conflicting with his current drivers he has on his hard drive. So what that means, Caleb, is that you're gonna have to install a fresh copy of Windows 7 on this bad boy to get her to boot. So I don't know how I managed to do this because I usually check this 1,000 times over again, but the reason why the computer was heating up so much is because the water cooling wasn't turned on. It wasn't a big of a deal, like the processor got up to like 67 degrees Celsius, then turned the computer off, but I plugged it in from originally right up here at the top. Hold on, let it focus a bit, but that right there to over here, and now we're all good. And I can hear the water actually coming through the tubes now, which before I couldn't. So I guess that one up there actually doesn't power it, but that's why I actually wanted to go into the BIOS and make sure that the temperature wasn't going anywhere too crazy. But you can see, with only one fan, we're actually at 27 degrees Celsius. All right, we've got TV and our dad here with us. The computer is finally all finished. Windows is installed. The last thing Caleb has to do is install and update all of his drivers, and it is completely good to go. Are you a creature?
It looks like a
Drivers, you can drive it?
What did you give birth to, Dad?
I don't know, some weird creature.
I don't know.
I'm kind of scared. And we put the side panels back on. Everything is good to go. The last
does
thing we
that
have to
say?
do, half.
Calling me pregnant?
It's called a AF. Uh-oh, Dad. Time to lay off. Hopefully you guys and gals enjoyed the computer building vlog with my younger brother. But if you want some real professional advice on how to build PCs or anything like that, and to do it the real proper way, you can go watch Linus Tech Tips. I've been following that guy for ages, and he is super cool and in-depth when it comes to building computers. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Take care, everybody. Have an awesome, safe day, and I'll see you guys and gals in my next video.
You know me, we were a happy family with a big fat hug.